part 2. Right. The only other regret, but it's not a regret, following on from rights fights, the thing that has to be said is every time, it's obvious. We've known for 30 years we have environmental collapse. So when you're dealing with somebody, when you have a new possible ally, when they charmy-schmarmy to you and then a week later stop answering their email, I know, this is the most important thing in life. We know this feather has a line going down it. There is a line. A reasonable person who knows the difference between good and bad, simple good and bad, knows where that line is. And I know exactly where that line is. Hey, come on, we met. Come on, you said all of this. Well, let's kind of at least meet for a coffee. I'm not accusing you of being a fake, but everybody else I've ever met's a fake. That's the right. I only have this here to remind me to get back to pen writing. It's the sciences that pen writing is much better for you than typing. But I don't have time to pen write at the moment, but I'm going to. Right, rather than sound like a complete jabberwocky. So yes, I care about appearances because sometimes I go into this mode of, this is my bed top. So, keep it. If I happen to be wearing this, as an aristocrat would, 30 years ago I made a film walking up there about how the rich people used to wear their clothes till they were falling to bits. That's good for the environment. This is 40 years old. Right. Didn't wear it for the first 10 years because I don't really like bright colours. But to the point. It's the time waste. Now, I've put something here. That's my old shit pan. Hasn't even been cleaned properly. Doesn't matter, there's no smell from it. I'm now going to go down and clean it properly. Because when you meet somebody, I met somebody, and I'm going to try and engage with her. Because I enjoyed meeting somebody who said, I've put this camera on for a reason, who said, well, I'm a bit of a fighter. So I was like, come on, well, tell me. Oh, I can't tell you here. Well, now. Nevertheless, so I did my kind of, it's not an act. It's like I found ways of speaking with people that often work. Cut through all the bullshit, all the charm, which is, I mean, this is just whole areas, London. It's just all they do is charm. It's all a performance. Well, I thought I'd met somebody I could have a conversation with. So it's like I cut through and got onto the, if you care about the environment, why are you wearing lipstick? You don't say it quite like that. I have ways of saying things which I try to be a bit funny. Anyway, she took it to heart. I'm going to give this to her as a kind of, because I actually have been like, oh, it's like, I hope she doesn't think I'm a bad person. I was trying to make a point. If the point is too much for you, it's not personal. Anyway, why have I turned this on? Yeah, I'm going to make sure I'm going to give her a peace offering. Because it would be nice to have a cup of coffee. But there's a point to that. Every engagement, even with her, yeah, I've actually spent about 2 hours since then. I just measure my life in time for about 2 hours. It's not really her fault. It's just things happen. And I never ever have angst or do revenge or anything like that. I don't think in those terms. I refer back 3 or 4 days ago. Very little sugar in the diet. Yeah, but I've spent about 2 hours thinking about her in the last, 3 actually, in the last 48 hours. Like, should I try and send a peace offering? Or maybe, I'll get to the maybe in a minute. But it's the time it takes for 20 years, the amount of my time from pretend people who pretend to be a little bit kind of, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm into that concept of standing up for a right, for the environment, etc. And then they just turn out to be fake. That has been the story of my 20 years. I don't resent one single second, except that is why I've had to be in super simple mode. I shall even say this. Right, so I learned long ago, don't spend any money. I spent 700 or 800 quid to get here, I suppose. Now, I still believe that that's the only person I've met who may have a backbone. I'm wrong, I guess. It would have been far more rational stopping off in Bristol and spending the money on 3 or 4 fucking hookers. I would have met some real women doing real good, because everybody needs a shag. You've no idea where you are with any English woman. I suppose she's polluted by Britain. I kind of don't care, because it's worked out better for me. And anyway, right, here you go. You see, here's what you're up against when you're, well, up against sounds like I care. That's the key. The key is, if you're well esteemed, if you've done the stuff, I'm lucky, I've done the stuff, you actually don't care. But 2020, I was cycling around my lanes in my past area, and I have to do this so quickly. And if the person this is about, who's very, very strange, if he is checking into my channel, I wouldn't even bother naming you. It's quite possible he is. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, those need they need, I've got polish. They need polishing, so I don't look like a total tramp. So that's something that's got to be done today. 2020, I kind of was just cycling around the lanes in my area, so happy, and I encountered this guy, this couple. I'm not even going to say. I knew if you encounter somebody who's hoarding very, very visibly, and that has in nature, well, it's going to be a problem. But it's like, not desperate, but like new encounters. Anyway, I don't normally do this, but no, very rarely do I do this. Because when you're in the provinces, they're just so lost and weird and lonely because they don't engage out there. I'm lucky. I engaged with society from a hill in close to a place called Hay Bluff. I lived up there in the middle of nowhere, and I was battling with society. I'm the luckiest person alive. I didn't intend to, didn't want to, but it's like the energy we have inside us, it had an outlet. Me and fucking Jack Straw, and I won. But there was a period prior to that. Me and the Lord Justices, then me and Jack Straw. I'm lucky. I don't have any angst. I don't need any revenge. I don't need to play games. Anyway, but the problem with the modern day, you cannot avoid the following. So it's like, yeah, I met this guy and I kind of said, oh, look, it's like I sometimes with certain people, if they come over really fucking ego mad, which I have no ego, and anybody looking at my stuff will think, God, this is the most egotistical twat in the world. No. So I sometimes, look, I did stuff with rights, okay? And I really, really fucking did. And I carry sometimes my one page in the Telegraph about me. Look, have a look at this. You don't get a page in the Telegraph unless you're a nuclear weapon. Now, please, I don't want to talk about, no, you can't say your opinions, I care about nature, and I try and do stuff about that. 2020, I encountered the worst crime in the world. The McCurrachs fakes the environmental spokesperson for Herefordshire. He probably even got paid. Broccocided. Buried alive some. But prior to that, the region of Herrickhill was being unlawfully mass tree clearance in the breeding season against the law. They started it in March 20. Now, actually, they'd started it the year before, but they really revved up 2020. They were doing mass coniferous tree clearances in the breeding season for the birds. That's illegal. They did it because they knew they could get away with it. Google Maps, Herrick Hill, over many hundreds, if not thousands of acres. That really, like, what are we going to do about this? And I couldn't speak to anybody because they're big, thuggish bully boys. Anyway, so 6 months later, I meet this guy and just please, you seem like quite a good guy, and he was talking about he fought for rights. Now, there's the first thing. A lot of people fake it. A lot of people, I don't know about this man. Crystal clear, I don't know. He's got this whole line about, I do this and I do that. It wouldn't surprise me if every single word was made up because certain people started to take on that persona to make them look good. So because I don't want to talk with them, I just do it. Having spent years looking for allies, that person isn't going to be my ally because they're a hoarder. No way. Right? So, my name's Simon Clayton, 2020.com, I think, did I have 2020? Yeah, I had 2020.com. I don't really need to know this. My one piece of advice, if you are actually doing that legal case that you say you're doing, because so many people make stuff up, okay, is put in an application asking for it to be held in open court. This was the case of an industrial tribunal. Unfair dismissal of a woman with false allegations against her. So that's my piece of advice. You can even put my name to it if you want. You can say that you've had a consultation from Mr. Simon Clayton, 2020.com, and he advises put in an application for it to be in open court, because industrial tribunals, they quite often do them in secret. Anyway, to the point. That's not the point. Like a few months later, this guy, it's like, I get a text from him. And I'd worked out by that, I don't want to have anything to do. There was a slight bit of mutual benefit, maybe. A bit of companionship, chatting. Yeah, but not my kind of person. CCTV all over the place. Jesus Christ. I got this message, and it's the only thing that's really bugged me. Oh, I've seen things written online about you. Now, as soon as I see one sentence like that, immediately, what you have to... I learned this in 2004. You just go into shutdown mode. It's not head in the sand mode. It's the exact opposite. This is not important, whatever it is. B, because actually in that period I did have some quite good people around who I knew, and they knew I was all right. B, what's B? You can never understand what's behind any of this, ever. It's not possible. You don't know who's talking to who and saying, oh, let's really fuck him up. Okay, so I just, as soon as I saw that one line, didn't even read the rest of the message, replied back, I'm a grown-up. I've had dealings even with people high up in the government, okay? I never reply to anything, ever. I never even look. Anyway, that day I kept getting messages. It's like, well, you should look. No, can't you read? What it actually meant was, I'm not sure about the campaigning you say you do. I've been one of the most successful in Britain. I didn't get to be that without going through years of worrying about things like this. I have my policy. It works for me. I don't even look. Now, but it bothered me. Not much bothers me, because I kind of kept myself a little bit. I kind of tried not to use my surname with people around and about. I heard various stupid people say things though. But anyway, here's the point. But then, over the next few weeks, and when you see, this is something that I've never been, even though I invented using Facebook in Britain, probably in Europe, if not, they weren't really doing it much in America, using these things to highlight bad acts in society, using social media. don't use it. Never bothered. After 14 years ago discovering how many terribly tragic fakes there were on it. But here's the point. They're lost to it. It matters to them. Then it kind of gradually occurred to me, nobody else around here really knows me and uses online. Because I know the people. It's like, they don't bother with it. Most of the people where I live didn't even have the internet. Even still in 2020, or didn't have it much. I bet you it's him. I bet you he is so fucked up that he is the person who's putting things on, and then he's phoning me up to tell me, oh, look what I found about you. My point. There are loads of fake campaigners. It's the wrong word. It's just people lost to the internet. They're not campaigners. But B, there are quite a few people so weird in this country. As soon as you have in this kind of second dimension of who may have written what, in what name, doing what online, you will waste so much time even getting to the truth. Don't bother. You know who you are, and you know what you have to say, which is purposeful. The main purpose being what I actually opened this up with, which is you have to learn to somehow it's horrible. Every single person you meet. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Have I said it? I actually woke up at 3:30 this morning, and I'm really glad I put this 3-hour waffle in. Yeah, that's all that matters. Yes, you see, this is me. It's like I've been over by Penzance for a few days, and it's like so draining. Even there, just these London people, ex-London, they still think they're in London, but their Penzance is their little London where they think that they're special and they're going to have great new art, and well, there's no fucking money left. It just takes it out of you. And I was actually quite like, nah, I got nothing more to do for a few days. I was really tired when I came here yesterday. But then I wake up here. All of them disappears. All of them. I wish one person would walk down here, but it's quite away from her Greek place, but and stupid me, I would have been better off spending the money on fucking hookers, who, at least they're human, at least they're brave enough to be what they are. But forget that. Somehow figuring when you encounter somebody, is it a waste of time me endearing myself to them, or trying to encourage them to be what they seem to be implying they may be, a bit of a fellow compañero. It is so somehow working out. If you should be, when you encounter somebody, should you just be, oh, hello, it's lovely round here, isn't it? Or, as I have been always, and I'm going to stop now when I meet people, well, it's lovely, but do you know that even this little stream will be completely fucked, as will that sea? And how can we at least encourage the next generation? Well, I met the wonderful, truly, well, she was parked here actually, fantastic young bandwoman. We had a chat about it, and she knew it's all ruined, and her generation are going to have to figure out a way of fighting. Yes, it's a right to have a decent environment if they care about it. So, having that conversation, as I almost always do when I encounter new people, I'd like to have new friend, compañero, people I gave up with the blokes. Four of them I was close to for a decade. Now they're just gone so the internet, because they spend more time on the internet thinking that they're going to dominate the world via understanding whether or not Putin had what the Zeds were on the fucking tanks going into Ukraine. It's all such bullshit. They're lost, and it's such a waste of time, and they never ever do anything. None of them. And you're arguing with me. I know things. I've found out special things on the internet that you don't know about. That's so boring. And if you deal with a top politician or even a top QC barrister, they will say to you, do you know what? I don't even deal with email. Okay? I want to know. I want to meet you person to person. Top QCs, okay, maybe they do now, but 20 years ago, they didn't read email. It's like, no, I want to meet you. I want to see if you... I'm going to invest my time and expertise in you as a human being. They didn't actually say this, but that's the deal. In law, which is a terribly important thing for many people, 20 years ago, that was the deal. I'm not going to read your fucking letter. I want to meet you. That's one of the big surprises to me about law when I first encountered this system. Because I write very good letters, very good ones. And I want to save I lived in the middle of nowhere. It was expensive for me to go to even Hereford, never mind Bristol, to go and see a lawyer, or further away. That's the closest I could get a top better lawyer, the luscious Louise, who was useless. But at least she would do what I told her to do. And threatened her. I liked her, Louise Hyam. I'm going to send this to her. I could fucking tell her what to do, because she knew I'm fucking dangerous. I will tell, I will complain, I will fax, counterattack if you fuck with me. And thus we became friends. Louise Hyam, my official solicitor, who did nothing except she did do what I told her to do. Louise, you will fax this to the other side. I don't care if it's against your solicitor protocols. You will do it, love. I never even had to raise my voice with her. She was wonderful. It's a shame she was 5 years older than me, because I so liked her and really needed. Good job they did have hookers in Bristol. Anyway, well, just a couple of times. And I've had so many. When I got my Rachmanitis in 15, first thing they always say to you, have you had an AIDS test? They actually said it 3 times. Doctors in this country, and I had the full tests for everything in 2015. They don't even bother to look at your notes. They're so fucking useless, you know? Do you want to check my notes there, okay? Because when I first came in with my probable... not quite black mold infection, taking over my body, grey mold. I had all the tests and blah blah blah. And the only thing that comes up is it tests for oral thrush, but I hadn't touched a woman for several years. No, they didn't even have the manners to check your notes. Anyway, yeah, I used to like to do things in writing. No, they don't bother reading your stuff. I want to meet you. Costs money when you live in the middle of nowhere to go and meet them. Right, why did I put this on? Because the good places here for 20 years longer, nearly 25 years, they've kept me going. They build me up, zen you out, such that you can, if there's anything worthwhile to do in this world, you can try and do it, as I'm doing now. And I don't believe in revenge. I don't believe in getting one over. Life's too short. It's only about, has somebody wasted my time? And a Serbian hasn't wasted my time, because I needed to be here. Yes, the story I told about the man, probably making things up, putting them online, and then so weird that he phones me up to tell me. I wouldn't dare put that. But it's an important story. I would never name this man, but I wouldn't dare put it here if I was still in the past region, because there are so many people who are so sick, really wonky, mixed up in this country. I'm not stupid. More importantly, to write about titleyscheme.blogspot.com, which my name didn't appear on then, or McCurrich's, or the dreadful fakery of the Bulmer organisation, taking grant money, and I couldn't stay in that region to actually, and I've put names to them now, I'm going to write this properly one day, but I couldn't. Everybody knew who I was. I had nothing to do with that. Hardly anybody. Never went to a pub or anything. But they all say, oh, we know who he is, as I'm cycling around on my old bicycle around back home from the shops in Kington. And if anybody said, oh, somebody's written about a large badger set that's been bulldozed with them alive, somebody said that in the pub, or somebody said, oh, somebody thinks that the Bulmer Spring Green festival is completely fake, and David Bulmer said rather than care about the perturbation in the river upstream from him, he would just restock it. A scientist said, met David Bulmer. Is it David Bulmer? Yeah. Met him in 2015 and reported in. The science says we got a lot of perturbation in this river upstream from you. Okay? Which means it isn't his fault, but this man who calls himself an environmentalist says, well, I don't really care. I can afford to restock the river every year. No, that's... Well, I've told that to quite a few people. But if I said it in West Herefordshire, people would heart you. So I needed to be here anyway, dear little Serb, because it's actually really good. I do care about the environment, and it's terribly... There's only one philosophical thing. I mean, it is all in the Bible, even though that's a load of crap, or most of it. Hate the sin, not the sinner. I don't. If David Bulmer walked down here now and said, oh, I've heard about you, I've had a bit of a rethink, let's go for a walk, great. Every single word I've ever said, I made friends with my opposing QC in the big legal case in 2005. We were friends, we kept in contact a bit. Anthony Kirk QC and I kept a friendly thing going for 6 or 7 years now and again. Anyway, I got no enemies. To me, nobody's worth naming. Ever. I've never met anybody worth naming. They're all so shabby in that justice system, the environment, the people who damage the environment, and the real problem, those who pretend to protect it. They're just all so shabby. But I lived in a place, a quarter of the population then to this area. So if anybody'd written anything online, they're going to say, well, it's going to be him. So I couldn't have come, and it's good to be writing or thinking about writing. They're so boring to me, though. The actual real stories of the environment and the useless environmentalists. You know, when Gordon Copock said to me, I'd cycled to Ludlow Green Fair 2016, was it? Or 2000? Yes, it was 2016. And I met him because I met Michelle there again. Or was it? No, it was 18. It was 18. Like, Gordon, coming here, Gordon, chairman of Clean, I think he was. Because he was there showing off with his electric. If you children pedal this bicycle, you can light a light bulb. Gordon, when I was coming here, because it was August, mid-August, 10th actually, there you go, I think, or 12th. Gordon, on the way here, I saw lots and lots of hedges illegally cut. Now, you're the only official green organisation in the whole region. Do you care? Simon, you make them... I've got a recording of this. Okay, Simon, you make the mistake of thinking we're an environmental organisation, KLEEN, Kington Local Environment and Energy Network. Getting paid, grant, they will have got a grant to go to Ludlow Green Fair in August or July of 2018. I didn't get paid to go there. I cycled 20, 30 kilometres because I didn't have any money or a vehicle on the road. But I was happy. And how can he sleep at night having his whole life based on a fake, a fraud, a pretense? Are these people even cognizant of the fact that they're spinning a complete lie about who they are? And they confuse it. I've never met anyone worth naming, and I mean that. But I know one or two people from back in the home region check in here. They don't tell me or send me any money. They might say, oh, Simon said this on his channel about, yeah, it sounds like it was about you. That will end up in violence. And I haven't met anybody worth the risk of violence on behalf of, not even the only person I like in the world, the young, Serb. So, there we go. Yeah, you've got to keep things organised because they waste so much time. But I am organised. That's the fundamental thing. If you're going to get involved in the battle for the rights, even for the rights of the fucking chuffs that live up there, you have to be organised first. Organised, and ideally you've got a decent partner in place. Because, accident. I didn't mean to turn that around, and I'd love to have had a camera person, but nobody will fucking do anything in this country.